Well, the current statue-destroying frenzy was sparked by the violence a month ago in Charlottesville, Virginia. Now that city's police department is being sued for letting the situation spiral out of control. A man called Robert Sanchez Turner says he was assaulted by white supremacists in Charlottesville as police there stood aside and watched. Mario Williams is a lawyer. He's representing Turner. Mike Donovan is CEO of Nexus Services Incorporated. He's bankrolling the lawsuit. Thanks, gentlemen, both of you. Mario, why are you taking this suit?
For the Constitution. What happened here is a travesty. You had a situation, Tucker, and I'm talking about regardless of race or affiliation,
yes,
where law enforcement officers stood by and watched people commit hate crimes and violent assaults on other people. Based on our information and our knowledge of research into these facts, the chief of police, other state law enforcement officials who were warned by the Department of Health Services, who were warned by DHS, who said, hey, look, you have a powder keg coming on down the street. This is the most explosive situation we've had in a few months about this clash between counter-protesters and protesters, Nazi protesters, counter-protesters. So you have a situation that you have to control. They didn't control it. But to the point, it wasn't that they didn't control it, Tucker. The issue was that they actually had a stand-down order. They actually ordered law enforcement not to intervene.
You know that the mayor's office ordered a stand-down, or the governor's office?
Here's what I can say about that, and the Supreme Court actually answered that question the best. I might not have heard it, but circumstantial evidence demonstrates it.
It certainly seems that way. I can't imagine a lot of cops are normal guys, and I just don't think they would stand by unless they had to. Mike, why are you funding this?
Well, you're right. Police officers risk their lives every day to protect us. You can't convince me that 100+ police officers get together and decide to watch people get their heads beaten in on either side of this issue, right? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. We all saw the Charlottesville police stand down. The question isn't whether there was an order. The question is why. Why was the order given? Because there's no way that many police officers would stand down. Our corporate office is located about 30 minutes from Charlottesville. Charlottesville is the progressive capital of Virginia. If this can happen in Charlottesville, it can happen anywhere. It's small town America. We better figure out what happened here and why the police allowed this to get out of control. As Mario said, they knew. Department of Homeland Security said this was happening. They knew it was happening. The mayor of Charlottesville, Mike Signer, stood up and said, after Donald Trump's election, our city, Charlottesville, will be the capital of the resistance. You stand up and say stuff like that, and then you provoke hate-filled response to your city, and then you ignore it. I mean, the guy should resign.
Well, he's way over his head.
Absolutely.
But I mean, keeping order in the streets is the basic function of a society. Why bother having a police department, giving them guns, paying massive retirement, if they're not going to stop a riot? I don't understand.
And I agree with you, Tucker, and I hate to drive the point home again. Department of Homeland Security told them the riot was going to happen, told them the basis for the riot, gave them all the intel they needed to understand that there were going to be physical assaults on this day.
That's right.
Why in the world would you not prepare? Here's one of the craziest things that happened out there. They had a situation where they actually left the park while people were assaulting each other to go put on riot gear. Can you believe that?
It's cowardly, among other things.
And if that was why they left the park, I mean, that's what the chief of police says. But as we've seen through this process of interviewing folks and looking at documentation, there's a lot of lying coming out of Charlottesville. Closed-door meetings. The mayor is up to his neck in corruption here. This is going to blow up, and this lawsuit will expose a lot.
I hope so. And by the way, it's a bipartisan thing. You guys are representing a liberal, I think.
Absolutely.
Conservatives upset about this. It doesn't matter.
Everyone.
It's the basic function of your society.
Exactly.
Thank you for standing up for that. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Tucker.
Thank you, Tucker.